So we're trying to create environments. These folks that are here, it occurred to me and in our Envisionary folks that we would be able to bring someone who's homebound into a lot of different environments that they may never be able to see again, or maybe have never seen before. We can take them into the woods, we can take them to a mountaintop, we can take them to a castle, we can take them all over the different places in the world. And that's a neat thing for this.
Welcome to the RAL Room Assisted Living Podcast with your hosts, Charlie Cameron and Alex Schlow. This is your go-to show for cutting-edge insights from industry leaders in residential assisted living.
Whether you're ready to launch your own assisted living business or looking to invest in this fast-growing, high-impact sector, we are here to equip you with the tools, strategies, and confidence you need to succeed. Get ready to ride the silver tsunami and change the future of senior care. Now on to today's show.
All right, welcome back to today's episode of the RAL Room Assisted Living Podcast. I'm your host, Charlie Cameron, and today we are thrilled to have Tom Hignite joining us today. How you doing, Tom?
I'm doing good, Charlie. How about you?
I'm doing well. So for our listeners, Tom has a ton of experience in development of very unique homes, building over 2,000 homes, and also has a very unique story of how he transitioned that into some smaller assisted living homes. Tom, I don't want to give it all away. Why don't you give us your take on your background, where you got started, and then we'll go into how you transitioned into assisted living.
Okay. 7 years of art school, no degree. So there's nothing really to brag that much about, other than to say that a lot of the things that I do and a lot of the things that the way I do things is approaches things from an artistic point of view, which is a great thing if you want to be an artist. Not such a great thing when you want to be a business person, because there's sometimes two different mindsets there. But my wife, on the other hand, who's not here today, she's handling some pressing items, as I'm sure anyone who's in this line of work knows. There are pressing items that come out of left field, and that she should be right here, but she's not. But anyway, my wife is very good at business. I think I'm okay too, but she's the one who has the degree in that, and therefore we make a good partnership, because she has no desire to decorate or to choose a color or to do anything artistic of any sort, other than she's a very, very smart person that graduated top of her class, Mount Mary in Milwaukee. I met her. She's an exchange from China. And she came over here, and here we start this building company. Am I going too fast, Charlie? You can slow me down.
Oh, this is great.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. So we said, I'm working at something, I'm the advertising director for a big boat chain in the area at the time for about 7 years. And I'm no thought of doing anything with assisted care. I just hadn't thought of it. It wouldn't be a bad idea. It just never comes to mind. You know how that is. Anyway, so Jackie and I meet, and Jackie is working in a banking situation in a good situation there. And she's from China, and we come together. And 2 kids later, 2 boys, Nick and Sean, we get fairly notable for the name Miracle Homes. If you were to go to a lot of people in Milwaukee area, we're from Milwaukee, Wisconsin area, southeast Wisconsin, they would know the name Miracle Homes. They used to know it. Everybody would know it. Now we haven't saturated the airwaves like we used to. We used to have so many radio ads and TV show that was talking about how to build homes and that kind of thing. So we're locally known. At least I still get recognized by my voice more than anything, because I've done so many radio ads. And after building about, you said 2,000, I'll say 2,500. I lost count somewhere after 22,000 homes. After that, in about 30 years of doing that, we said there's got to be something more to this, more than building homes and selling them. And people would come through every now and then and talk to us about how they have a care home of some sort. They want to know if we would build a care home. And I didn't know what a care home was, a group home. And we just decided that we've heard it enough times with people asking us. We were building in a subdivision, and we had an investor involved with getting the subdivision going. He owned the lots, and we would build the homes. We had about 20 homes in this subdivision. And we decided we would start building homes that were care homes when we finally figured out what we that was about. And it's like a good situation to do. But this kind of dovetailed right about the same time as my father, Walter, dying. And when he died, before he died, he went into some care homes. And that's what really was the birth of it. My dad going into the care homes. My dad was in construction business of a large variety of buildings, huge foundations for buildings, and never in homes. And I was in homes. And while my dad was in these various group homes, we're not doing rehab mainly. So these were CBRFs. And I thought that we were always seeing things we didn't like, things that we thought were wrong. Why would they do things this way? We'd see people that would be ringing call bells continuously and not being serviced. And we would look at that and go, it's not necessarily because of incompetence, but it's because of workload, that you have a certain amount of people and that need to be cared for and a certain amount of people to care for them. So the workload was just too heavy for that amount of people. It's not that they weren't trying to do a good job. It's just that it makes it very hard. I'm sure some of the caregivers out there that are on a wing of 10 beds or 12 or whatever it might be, and then another caregiver doesn't show up for work, and for whatever reason, might be good reason, not a good reason, doesn't matter, they're not there, and they're now taking care of two wings. And I'm hearing stories of that when we started asking my dad and I. My dad has an engineering mindset, and so do I in many ways. And we thought if we were doing this, we'd do it differently. We would do this, we would do this, we would do this. So we went to the state of Wisconsin and tried to figure out what the smallest home is that we could build legally, get all that. And it was an adult family home. So I said, all right, let's go the route of an adult family home. Is this getting too long? You can ask a question anytime. You can interrupt
no, this is
me.
good. This is good. For the listener, can you define an adult family home? That's a state of Wisconsin term, correct? And
sure.
How many residents can you have?
I don't think it's state of Wisconsin necessarily, but it could be. I know that I've looked for adult family or group homes in certain areas, and as Texas, they'll allow, I think, I could be wrong, but a different number than 4. We're only allowed 4 bedrooms in an adult family home. So it's 4 bedrooms, 4 unrelated people, or they could be related, but 4 unrelated people. And you can have as little as 1 bathroom for the 4. There's no description to how much common area you need to have. It just needs to be a logical amount to handle that number of people. You're allowed to eat on 2 shifts if you wanted to. If your table, I guess, was too small, I didn't quite understand all that. But so we started building the idea of, let's not ever let my dad or my mom now go into one of these homes that we visited, even though they were nice. Some of them were nice. It just wasn't something we thought would be the spot for someone to spend a lot of time in and to die in many cases. So having thought it through and thought, what can we do? I design all the homes we have. I have a staff that puts it on CAD and readjusts things, but every design starts with me drawing it. And so I started drawing homes and trying to figure out what the right home would be to do a 4-bedroom home for 4 non-related people. And we also finished out a basement. Now I'm starting to figure out what a CBRF is. CBRF, community-based residential care facility, if you don't know what that is anything over 4 beds in Wisconsin. In many other states, you can build 5 beds. You could build 6 beds, I think, in some states. But you can build a lot of places around Milwaukee area that have 2 beds, or they bought an old house and they've tried to convert it over. But so we built this house right that way from where I'm sitting. We're sitting in the theater of one of our homes here, and which is a whole nother story in itself. So we built a home over here, and we built that about 10 or 11 years ago. And we didn't have too much trouble getting residents in it. Then we built another home over here. We one over that way, one over that way, and one right here. And they were all built a few years apart, 3 or 4 years apart. So the home we're sitting in here, which is our newest one out here in the Milwaukee location, has a theater in it, which is, I don't know if you can see it at all here, but
yeah,
there's the stage and there's the other side of it. I'll get me back in the center again. Did I get you dizzy?
No, we're good.
Okay, Charlie. Where did we leave off here? Well, anyway, so we have a setup here, which is 3 adult family homes, 4 adult family homes, depending how you look at it. Because some of our homes out here are duplex. So they're all ranches, but some of them have a lower level. And each one has to have their own exit and their own entrance times 2. So you have to have 2 exits and entrances on each floor. You can't travel through one of the homes if you were up and down, let's say, and we had these people down here living with 4 bedrooms and these people up here living with 4 bedrooms. This is at ground level. So this is below ground, but usually a slope, so you have some windows and whatnot down there that you can get out of down there. And the first one we built, I tried to build it to CBRF standards, thinking that I wasn't new in this and I didn't know if we were going to be able to do adult family homes or if we're going to be able to do CBRFs if we grew a little bit. And I found out that we were pretty happy with the adult family home model because we're able to give 1 caregiver to 4 residents, which is a pretty good ratio.
Yeah,
rather than,
great.
as I explained before, 10 to 1 or 20 to 1. So 4 to 1 seems like a pretty good ratio. But if you have to use a Hoyer lift, that's a lift that you're able to, it's a portable crane. You're able to lift people up out of the bed and put them into their wheelchair. You're supposed to have 2 people for that. So sometimes you end up with 4 bedrooms, 4 people, and 2 caregivers, which is a value, I think, to those people to have 2 people caring for them. When you have people who have different afflictions to their lives, these folks all have disabilities of some sort, whether it's mental or whether it's physical. And we were able to build these homes. In each home, you try to concentrate on getting like people, these people that are similar. So you wouldn't want someone who had a propensity to want to lay on the floor when the other people in the home are people who have no idea why they're laying on the floor. Their mental condition these folks don't have, and this one does. You want to try to get like people. So you have 4 people that are, maybe they all don't lay on the floor, but they all may have some mental affliction that makes it make sense. The hardest part is we have these 4 bedrooms that are sitting empty, and it's so tempting to take the first person in that comes in and put them in the first bedroom because the money starts coming in then. When you're doing a second person in, the money starts coming in. We found that we really don't get into being a profitable organization until we're at about the 3rd or 4th person. There are placements that people that do that for a living, and they bring people to you. And so we got the 4 going, then we got another 4 going over here, and then we got another 4 going over here, and then we finished out a lower level and got that going. So that's where I said it's 3 or 4 homes here. It's actually 3 buildings and 4 houses. Does that make sense to you, Charlie? You've got a basement, that's one.
Yeah.
Upstairs, that's another. They're licensed as 2 different houses. You can't let the people upstairs take care of the people downstairs. Unless it was a CBRF, then you could, but this is not. These are adult family homes. So we have the 3rd home we built here. They all have different propensities. The folks here are very mobility challenged, but very bright. They're business people that have fallen upon muscular dystrophy, or they're business people that have gotten an affliction of vertigo, where everything is spinning around you. But this person was leading a part of the Milwaukee area government and was very well known in this area. And he chose us out of many because he knew that we would have the kind of attention, I think, and maybe we'd gotten a little bit of reputation by that time. Miracle Homes was quite well known. So when it became known that we were going into homes that were going to be assisted care homes, it was an easy radio ad to write that you've seen our homes and all the Parade of Homes, and you've seen all of our things that we do. Now you'll be able to actually live in one of our homes. And hey, Paul, I'm on a TV show right now, so I won't be able to talk to you at the moment, but it's my right-hand man, Paul, over there. There we go. And he's going right out of here. All right. Anyway.
So Tom, I want to touch on some stuff that you sent over when you scheduled this, something that I think is really interesting. You have your art background, which you applied to many of your unique homes that you constructed, but then you also did some really cool, unique amenities in your care homes. Can you talk to some of those?
Yeah, a lot of when you're building a home, Milwaukee is a saturated area. It has too many adult family homes in it. And therefore, when people ask me, what do I do if I'm building in a saturated area? Just think photographically. You want to be able to show the best photograph of any of the others that are out there. And how do you do that? You don't know all the other ones that are out there. So what we do is I have a slight Disney connection in my background, which I mentioned to you before we started this podcast today, Charlie, but I won't go into all that. But I do have friends that are Disney affiliated. I myself have been Disney affiliated. Long story, another day. But we're able to use that creativity that would be a Disney type thing and Imagineering, and we're able to bring it into the homes. For example, the one home next door to us has a bird aviary in it. Now a lot of homes have a bird cage or bird some. This is 22 feet long by 18 feet tall by 6 feet deep, and it has birds that fly around in it. And therefore, why would it need to be so tall? Because it's spanning between those two floors where I mentioned. So you have this bird aviary that goes along one whole wall that goes all the way from the lower level. You can see the whole wall of glass there and see the birds flying, and the upper level. Now, if you don't like the sound of birds, we have to have that taken care of. Again, thinking through the Disney concepts of how to make something work for people, not just doing something. So we had its own heating and cooling system, so you wouldn't have to share the smells of the birds. We had a way for all of the droppings to be gotten rid of very quickly by doing hosings on the floor and things like that could get rid of all that. We had a way for the birds to look outside, so the patio that's outside actually has a exposure of that glass so you can see that from the patio what's happening. We put telephone poles we found that were laying down next to railroad tracks. We brought in 2 of those and put them in this tall thing with the T shape and all the wires that go across and the birds love to sit on those wires, and we're all used to that. So on the second floor of the home or the main level, you're able to see all the birds sitting on there and chirping away. If they're too loud, you close a window. We have a window you can open and close to make it quiet. It even looks into one of the bedrooms. So we have a bedroom that looks into the bird aviary. Wow. So that's something you can take a picture of and show to people, and it would attract them. It would set you apart from someone else.
That's definitely the most unique thing I've ever heard of.
It came to being just by going through a lot of homes and seeing they have bird cages that are 5-6 feet long, but that we could do it better. We could do it different. We wouldn't have to have the smell or the sound, but you could open it up, and in the middle of winter, you can hear birds singing, and it's a wonderful thing. At our other home, what we did was we might do, like this one has this theater in it. And this is as close as I can come to an IMAX theater without actually having an IMAX theater. We have 3 16-foot movie screens behind me. And you're seeing one of them right there. See that? That's a 16-foot long by 9-foot high movie screen. Now this big hole where you see all the blue, that will also be a movie screen like this. We have a way that transforms. And we have another one of those on the other side of the room. We're able to put an image just like they would do if you were doing a circle vision in a Disney venue. We developed our own rig where we developed 3 cameras, and we put those 3 cameras on a piece of metal and aimed one in this direction, one in that direction, and one in that direction. So now if I want to take a movie of a beach, which we have, a lot of different scenes we have, you're able to see the beach right in front of you, but it also wraps around you. We're only doing 3-sided. So it's a poor man's circle vision without really being a full circle. But you're able to look all the way down the beach in one direction, all the way down the beach in the other direction, and you're able to see a jogger coming all the way through and jog through all the screen, or see seagulls flying, or take a picture of a volleyball game going on. And this camera always stays static, so you don't ever get dizzy. It just stays in one spot, because if it was going like this all the time, you'd get dizzy. So that's something cool here. And we have other features in this room. we've done rooms that have smellizers in them, so that when we have a view of Disneyland, actually on one of them, we put it static, but you can see Disneyland, and the smell in the room becomes popcorn. And we did another one where we did smellizers in the room, and the music changes also to support this, where we're on the beach and watching California surfers that are surfing in a tournament, and you smell salt air when you're doing this, and the music plays Beach Boys songs, that kind of things in the background. So we're trying to create environments. These folks that are here, it occurred to me and in our Envisionary folks that we would be able to bring someone who's homebound into a lot of different environments that they may never be able to see again, or maybe have never seen before. So we can take them into the woods, we can take them to a mountaintop, we can take them to a castle, we can take them all over the different places in the world. And that's a neat thing for this house. And I take a picture of that, and that shows real well. Now, we've also shrunk that down in one of our homes and did that in a living room. We called it a reflections room. We carpeted the ceilings and carpeted walls so that your noise was very minimal in there. And then took 3 70-inch TVs and did the same thing I just explained to you, and carried that through in a way that if somebody was feeling anxious, they could go into this reflections room, and we had everything set up in a way that would bring you down, that would bring you into a calm spirit. Some of our homes have different lighting effects that happen for morning, noon, and evening. The colors in the room become different. That's for people who might have Alzheimer's or dementia, and they're having a hard time figuring out what time of the day it is. Matter of fact, if we waited long enough here, you would hear a speaker in this room and throughout this house and a lot of our homes. Not all of them are the same, but in this house, it would tell you what the weather is going to be that day, and what the joke of the day is, and that's at lunchtime, by the way, and what the different things that we have planned for, like the factoid of the day. And it's really interesting to be able to change lights and remind people what time it is, and remind people what part of the day it is by that lighting. And we have music goes through the home, and the music becomes different tones and different things at different times of the day, so that you are able to feel what time of the day it is instinctively. And it's worked out pretty well for a lot of our folks. I think one of our most fun rooms that I've done, it has a component of myself and my dad and my mom in it. I told you about, we have 3 buildings here, 4 homes. Well, we have 3 adult family homes under one roof. We were building on a dairy farm site. It hadn't been a dairy farm for years. It was just a big old silo tower sticking up out of it, and the rest of it was all overgrown trees. So very interesting project to do. We recreated a barn and a farmhouse, and we kept the silo right there, and we used this whole thing as a really neat thing to live on a farm, and everything became farm oriented. So we had 3 homes that were under one roof. Now we're taking the concept we had here. We said, you know what would be neat if we could put all 3 of those under one roof. So let's do that. So we did that, 1 on the lower level, so you have to be able to do stairs, and then 2 that are ranches over here and here. And one of the rooms in there, we named it after my mom. Like going too fast again? We named this after my mom, Charlie. It's called Betty's Place, my mom, Betty. And she was still alive. My dad had passed in a care home after being very healthy, but he had gone through the process, and it ended up not on the right side. But I swore we're gonna do something with this now. We're gonna take this and make this something big.
Sorry to interrupt this episode, but let's be honest. Most real estate investing right now, it's either buy a fourplex or try Airbnb and hope for the best.
Yeah, we're not here for that.
We're here to show you what we believe is the most overlooked high cash flow real estate strategy in the game right now. You guessed it, residential assisted living. It's literally the one place in real estate where you can net 6 figures on a single home and feel like a decent human being at the same time. You're helping sweet old ladies eat pancakes and play bingo and live longer through better care. You tell me what's better than that.
So we're hosting a free live webinar called How You Can Create Financial Freedom with Residential Assisted Living. No fluff, just value. And it's happening at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time, 6:30 Mountain Time. No excuses. It's online. Put on sweatpants. We won't judge.
We'll break down why residential assisted living is the best opportunity right now, the 5 steps to take down your first home, and how to set up a business that makes a real impact and real money.
Spots are limited, so don't be that person who DMs us in 3 months saying, wait, is it too late to start?
So hit up theralroom.com/webinar and register now.
Be the hero your grandma already thinks that you are.
We'll see you there. Pancakes not included.
So Betty's place was, we redesigned what my mom's room was that she lived in so that we could bring it into Betty's place and she could live there for her end part of her life as she was going through dementia, so that she could go in there and have things like they were in her own home. And we then took the common room or the community room and made it into a waltz sailing club. My dad, he loved to sail. Excuse me a minute. I'm going to turn that off, which I think was one of the instructions I needed to do at the beginning of this thing, wasn't it?
That's fine.
Anyway, hopefully it's off. If it isn't, I'll throw it against the window, but I'm not that violent. So. Anyway, so Waltz Sailing Club has pictures of my dad in it in sailboats and things over the years that it sent when he was younger, and with me and my mom and my brothers, four brothers here, me being one of them, all sailing on this sailboat that my dad had procured later in his life. And okay, all right, I'm going to do my due diligence and press power off. There we are, folks. Hit the right button the second time. This seems to be my stride. Anyway, we've got a Waltz Sailing Club, has boats that sail around the ceiling that are sailboats. We have all kinds of nautical decorations in it. And the room is not that it's of a small coffee shop. And everything's nautical in there. And we have these boats on the top of the hour. 2 sailboats sail around. They're model sailboats, about yay tall, pretty big. And they sail around on train tracks that are hidden up there. And everybody just knows it's the top of the hour. At the half of the hour, we have holographic spinners that spin, and they then make an image on them that looks like it's just floating in the air. We have sailboats that are sailing in different directions on that one. It's just fun to do things that you can put into a home that make a good picture. And because when you're selling against this lot of people in Milwaukee and maybe in your town, wherever you may be, get a good picture. And I don't mean just a picture that looks like a nice room. That's important, but you can get a good picture of many different things that if you can get those good pictures, just if you have great bedrooms and really good color schemes, and you can get away with things that just look wonderful by just doing some decorating through home goods or what have you.
This is good, Tom. You've inspired me a bit. We're hoping to develop some 4 homes on a lot in Virginia that we just put under contract. And now it just occurred to me that we should just have a different theme for each one, and have some sort of themed space for each one. So this is high value. I love that idea. It didn't occur to me till just right now. So man, I thank you for that.
Theming is very important. The residents don't want to go into the same room all the time. Mm-hmm. So you can take an area and make it feel very different than the other areas. That it transports them someplace differently with that. And you can start doing things that are, a blue room will make you feel a certain way. Different colors make you feel a certain way. Lighting will make you feel a certain way. There's so much you can do with automation to make the lighting go up, go down, make music come on at a certain time. Baby grand piano that plays a little bit when it's a certain time of the day to let you know that it's that time of the day. We've used animatronics in our home. The folks who build them actually in California, a lot of them are built there for Disney. We've used Garner Holt is the name of the company. We've used them to build things for us that you're not going to find anywhere. They're just custom for us. So you can really take it to the next level. Maybe you need a mascot for your homes. That is a call button for one of our residents. We have it ringing out here today. Yeah. And in other spots too. So
interesting. Yeah, love all those ideas. I can't wait to take this back to my partners and go, hey guys, we need to step up our game. And I think it's just so cool. You're not going to walk into a big box nursing facility and see a freaking aviary in the middle of the facility. So I think that's so cool. It's so smart to set yourself apart. And I bet for that reason, tell us a little bit about occupancy. Have you had any trouble leasing up the homes, or do you have a wait list? Does the uniqueness really draw people in?
There isn't really that much of a wait list. There is people that always want to come in, but as you're in this line of work, if you don't have that home right away, they got to find someplace different, because they've got to. These things are not done with generally a whole lot of thought in the future. People are coming in on the spur of the moment.
Yeah.
Now, we've had a few people who have said, I just want to live in this house. Tell me when you have an open room. And we've been able to accommodate that. But if you have some good pictures of the house doing something that's unusual, maybe you just make one wall out of bubbles. Just they make bubble effect.
Oh, yeah,
Things
yeah,
are
yeah.
enclosed. It's pretty easy, not that much maintenance to them. You just do that, and maybe you make a room that changes colors. So at dinner time, it's a different color than what they just were at lunchtime, or that you change your napkins out, you change your garb out for your smocks or something. And you also then change some color floods that are in there that you can just press a button and change to whatever color you want. We have in this house fiber optic ceiling stars. I don't know if you can see that.
Yeah, I see it. Yeah, that's cool.
Some of them.
It's like a starry night kind of thing.
It feels like we're underneath the tree here.
Yeah.
And you got all these tree branches from Lake Michigan's beach. They were all washed up ashore, and had been pounded by the waves for so long. We were able to collect them and hang them from cables up in our ceiling and put the lights there, so we can change those stars to any color we want. We have fireworks we can put in here. We can do all sorts of different things. But for simplicity's sake, do something much simpler than that. If you just have a good photograph of something, it will attract people and separate you from the other folks that are out there, because there's a lot of care homes out there, and you have to be separated from them somehow. And it's not that hard to do. We had all sorts of ideas for a 50 bed that we were going to do. We've designed some 50, 100 bed for folks that haven't been built. But I said, let's do a town square. Let's make them so they can go on the town. And let's make Elm Street and this street and that street. And they were all named Oak Street, Maple Street. And each one was their own street. And they had their own little house fronts on it. It looked like you're in a street of homes going down there. But they all joined in the town square in the middle. And they had a pet shop, and they had a library, and they had a church, and they had all these different things that were on this street that they could go and visit. When they had visitors of young kids, there was a toy shop there. And it was remarkably, but one of the biggest components there that was not needed to be a lot was, we thought we should take people that have a lot of possessions that they have accumulated, and they want to sell them and make some money from that. So we could do a resale store as a part of the building that would be available to the outside. The guests could then go inside and out of that store from their safe area, which is the half of it that's connected into the house. But the other half of it could go by, and maybe their loved ones would say, hey, I've got some old stuff in the attic. I'll bring that down. So we had it designed with a garage that was fairly close by, and that you could drop your stuff off. You could then resell stuff. It'd be a something old, something new type situation where you might have some new product in there, but very few. Good thing for the people to make a few bucks. They could then have their little color code on each one of the items that they had brought in. And if they sell it, they get a couple of bucks from that. And same thing with the beauty shop was going to be set up so they could be seen from outside. The more you can make your people feel like they're going out on the town without going out on the town, I think is always a good thing.
Yeah, that's awesome. Tom, I have a question for you. You mentioned that you have a really good staff retention policy and an I Promise pledge. Can you tell us about that? When you hire new staff, what is the pledge about, and how do you retain folks?
We've lived through a lot of that before we ever got to that. And we found out that no matter how beautiful the home was, no matter how, it eventually just becomes a workplace. You're used to seeing all this stuff I just explained. It then becomes commonplace. If you were at Disneyland or Disney World, they would take the workers from one area and put them into another area so they didn't get bored and but you don't have that in a house, no matter how fantastic it is. It just becomes a workplace after a while. So it really is not about these things. It's about the caregivers themselves. So if the caregivers will leave you, because they'll forget about all this nice stuff after a while, and they'll go somewhere else, because that other someone else might be offering a little more money, might be a little closer to their home, might be a friend that works there, and they'd sure like to work with that friend. a lot of different reasons. Sometimes you just don't know why they're leaving. And so we figured out a sheet just maybe a year ago, so not that long ago. And the sheet, when someone comes in to interview with us, they look at this sheet and it has all the things that they promise to do. It's I promise sheet. They sign their name at the top or at the bottom. They read through each place and they put I promise at the end of it with a little check or whatever it was. Not quite remembering it exactly, but I promise not to be late to work. I promise not to smoke. We don't have smoking grounds here. It doesn't work. I promise to always keep my nails short. We want our nails so short that you don't see them when you hold up your hand. No nails over the top. I don't think people like to get enema with long nails, and they sure don't like to have themselves scratched by accident when they're trying to administer some care. So anyway, the I promise sheet gives you all these things right up front. You know what you're buying. That we're not going to tell you about it later. Before you even interview, you're doing that. But the second piece of that, after you sign the I promise sheet, is then you get our terms of work. Our terms of work that you have to agree to. You don't have to. You don't have to be employed here either. But this is one of the things you'll have to do in order to work here. You sign a sheet that says if you don't give 2 weeks' notice, you are going to have to forfeit, and you agree to forfeit. We're not telling you have. You agree to forfeit $1,000 of whatever pay you have coming. So if you have a lot of money, and we check with our attorney, who's very highly paid, and the only thing he does is labor law, and he's the biggest name in Milwaukee for doing that sort of thing. And so everything is very on the up. And I think just forget about attorneys, just from a moral point of view, I like to approach things because we don't want to ever get legal, do we? But from a moral point of view, if I told you that this is what is part of the job, you agree to it, then there should be no moral issue there, right? And so the person will very often now give us a 2-week notice. We did have people that would walk out. They wanted to be with their mom at some festival or something, or not mom, usually for mom we might agree, but for some aunt 3 times removed at a festival, or some friends that they came into town. You have a job now, and then you have to try to coordinate yourself to the job. We expect that we're going to get the best of the best caregivers. So when people call us and say, "Hi, do you have a job opening?" we always have to ask about their experience level. And so if they have a lot of experience, we'll find a spot for them. If they have the right attitude, that's more important than experience. If they have the right attitude, we'll hire you, not right just the experience. The right personality. A person that lights up that room when you walk in is not everybody. You don't all have to be that way, but it sure doesn't hurt if we find someone like that. So you sign your paper that is your promises. And then you sign your paper that says that if you leave without giving us a proper 2-week notice and work those 2 weeks, you're going to agree to forfeit up to $1,000. So if you only have $500 coming, you won't be getting that $500. If you have $1,000 coming, and you get the idea. So the second part of that is that we want you to give us you need to be there on time. If you're not there on time, we cut our pay into 2 pieces. Pay is decided not just by what your hourly is, but what your hourly is for performance and what your hourly is for punctuality. So let's say that you're getting paid $16 an hour, $17, $20 an hour, whatever the number might be. Entry line's probably around 16, 17, 15 around here. So if you're at $16 an hour and you're late, but you still showed up and you did a good job, you're going to get your performance pay, but you will not get the punctuality pay. The punctuality pay is about $3. So now your performance is at 13 and your punctuality is at 3. Could be at $4, could be at $5. Depends how much you value punctuality. So if a person shows up late, they can get around it by just simply calling up a manager and saying, "I'm late because this is what the reason is," and the manager just approving it. And if they don't approve it because you're late because you just overslept, they might overlook that one time because you've been a good employee. But you go doing that 2 and 3 times, I'm sorry, you don't just lose it that day, you lose it for all the days in your pay period. Our pay period is 2 weeks long. So if you have 2 weeks and you just made that grievous mistake, you decided you did a no-call, no-show, is a lot of times that's the end of the road for you right there. No-call, no-shows are are just, we still try to look for the gold in that, thinking maybe the no call, no show is because they got mugged, they fell down and they got sick, they're in the hospital. Something is unusual there because this person's a good person. We want to give everybody the benefit of the doubt. So,
Sure.
But if it really is that you'd made some previous mistake and just didn't call us, and you're trying to get ourselves pardoned, we might go with that one. You do that second time in a short period of time, you have to keep people accountable. So we have the pay cut into two pieces. And if you don't get that, you're going to lose a lot of pay. If you're at the 2 weeks period and you did that terrible mistake at the end of that 2 week period, you just lost that $3 for every day that you worked during that period.
Wow. Okay. I was going to ask how that worked, but now I get it. So you have basically the base pay, and you have the punctuality pay that goes on top. But if you make a punctuality mistake and don't call in,
and don't get it excused, if some people they call it, look, I'm going to have a problem getting into work because of whatever, and it can be excused. But if somebody just shows up late and decides that's just good enough, that's not. Our residents deserve more than that. Our other caregivers deserve more than that because they don't want to stay an extra 10 minutes for someone that's going to be late.
Yeah. Wow.
They can and they will.
That's valuable. I appreciate that insight, Tom. I have one more kind of thought for you. And that is, we have a lot of folks that in our Facebook groups or in our communities, they'll come in and they'll say, hey, this home here can only suit 5 residents, can only suit 6. Like California and Florida, for residential, 6 is the limit. And so, but I can't seem to get the numbers to work. For somebody who has 4 resident homes, what would you have to say to those folks?
In what regard?
Just to, hey, how do I make this profitable? How do I make it cash flow so that I'm not losing money every month?
It is tough. I must say that we are not in a highly profitable company. We're in it for a different reason. And when I say that, people think, oh, he's making money. No. You're not making money hand over fist. You're not going to be poor. It's a very stable business. I think that's the best part of it. You have when I went to our banker and said, we're going to stop building homes in such quantity, we're going to start doing, he said, good, because home sales are like that. This is what happens when you have a group home. And if somebody wants dependability, still make some money, but it's hard to do. You have a lot of restrictions in Wisconsin. You have to obey. And if somebody leaves the home because they're sick, depending who the carrier is, who's community care or whatever the name of the people are that are helping provide the money from the state, you're not getting any money when they leave. So when they leave, let's say they're gone for 2 weeks, it's just like you can't do anything with that room other than use it maybe as a respite for that period of time. It is a tough business, but it can be very rewarding, not only in seeing what you're doing for other people, but also in the dollar end if you're able to keep the rooms occupied. But until we get to our third and usually our fourth person, the profit is in that third and fourth person for us. Mm-hmm. Take out a very long loan on the home. The least amount of money you can pay for that a month. You don't have to try to get it paid for by the time you die. You should try to use that home for your business and save the money that you have to try to see you through the rainy days.
Makes sense. Tom, this has been awesome. If I didn't have another call in a few minutes, we could keep rolling and talk more about these.
Well, I think we've been at 40 minutes right here, and I appreciate it, Charlie. You're a good host. You let me talk too much, so please next time interrupt me.
There was just a lot of really good stuff in there. I just took somehow every time I'm like, oh yeah, I'm another so-and-so on the podcast. Man, I learned something every time. And today I learned just how beautiful unique designs can be in care homes and how I now really want to implement that and have themed homes on our current development. So hopefully we can
make sure your doorbell does not just say ding dong when people enter. Okay. Ours will be a crow, and ours will be a cat, and ours will be a whatever. We'll always know which door is being rung when they ring.
I love
very
that.
Inexpensive thing to do for anybody out there.
That's cool. That's smart.
All right.
All right, Tom.
That's the last takeaway.
Yeah, that's the best one. We'll put that one at the front as like the teaser for the episode.
All right.
Hey, Tom, thank you so much for your time. This has been awesome, and we're looking forward to having you on again sometime soon. Thank you for tuning in to the RAL Room Assisted Living Podcast. We hope you found today's episode insightful. If you enjoyed it, make sure to leave us a raving 5-star review. And a quick review helps more listeners find the show and more seniors get the exceptional care they deserve.
And don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode. And just so you know, we have prepared some free resources for you to help you succeed in residential assisted living in addition to this podcast. Head over to theralroom.com, that is the RAL room.com, to download our free 10-step guide to launch your first or next residential assisted living home, or our 10 reasons to passively invest in residential assisted living ebooks.
And if you're ready to take the next step and make real moves in the RAL industry, join us in the RAL Room Mastermind. It is an exclusive community where we deep dive into everything you need to launch and grow your own residential assisted living business. You'll get access to recorded courses, live calls with industry experts, a RAL calculator, resources and tools, like-minded entrepreneurs, funding opportunities, and an expert networking community to help you along your journey.
Be sure to join us next time on the RAL Room Podcast as we continue to explore the world of residential assisted living with more great guests. See you then.